was a literal scam that Joseph Smith operated out of his basement. Essentially, it's not actually out of his basement, but it is a literal out of Ohio. It is a scam he operated out of Ohio in which he printed fake money, technically fake, not actually. He wanted it to be real money, but it wasn't real money. All right, so what happened is everything was in a depression. Joseph Smith was like, all right, let's go ahead and make some money. And they're like, well, hang on, we got to get the government's permission to do that. And he was like, okay. So he sent a delegate to Ohio state government, and they would not give him a charter to print money. So instead of doing what most normal people would do and trying to go through more legal methodologies and start an actual bank and do things legitimately, he made his own bank anyways and printed his own money anyways and tried to convince people it was worth something and lost a bunch of money in the process. It's funny because Mormons were like, early Mormon leaders were hardcore gangster with counterfeiter connections. Indeed. So Nick has spoken the truth.
Yes, this is the truest thing you've said so far.
True. The funniest
also when you support all those wives.
The funniest aspect of the whole Kirtland Safety Society thing to me is whenever Mormons will say, oh, but you can't say that this proves that Joseph Smith was a false prophet. He was the one who took the largest financial hit whenever the Kirtland Safety Society went under. Yeah, that's what happens when your scam fails and you invested a bunch of money in it and it turns up upside down. That's what happens when you break the law and you're an idiot. Like, so what? And also, he didn't actually, so he took most of the fall, but he actually tried to distance himself from the Safety Society before it actually went all the way under. So he literally like appointed 2 Mormon leaders and he was like, you deal with this. And then he like removed all of his money. Which I don't blame the dude. So there's that. Polygamy. I would just like to go ahead and read for you. I would just like to read D&C 132, which is quite possibly the single most diabolical Mormon text ever written. And this was written by the hand of your prophet. Mm-hmm. I need to insert this link into my notes, not in the Zut sense. Kaboom. All right, now it's done. Okay.
The Joseph Smith sense.
In the false prophet sense. Share screen. Insert. Don't ask again.
In the Sobek sense.
Kaboom. All right. Here we have Skibbity Bop. Oh, thank you, Chris. Here we have Doctrines and Covenants, section 132. I really have a hard time summarizing it, so we're not going to read the whole thing. It's pretty long-winded, but we will read at least the first bit of it and then the last bit of it.
Wimp.
It says in verse 1. Oh, sorry. What's up?
Oh, I said wimp because you're not reading the whole thing.
Well, it's kind of like 40-odd verses long.
Please don't do it. I'm just being stupid.
Oh, it's
I'm going to end up running my mouth, and then we're going to be stuck listening to this boring crap that some guy
It's not. It's actually pretty entertaining.
We have a person I don't recognize saying, your arguments are terrible. I have much better arguments, but I won't tell you.
Okay. So, oddly enough, that's actually, I think, an angel.
I wish I was as cool as you, Why is Gamora? Oh, man.
First of all, I do like your name. Oh, yes, everyone, please go to Christian Gadfly's stream. I'm assuming he is streaming this. Please go on.
Finally.
He is there.
Then, as soon as I got it up, I couldn't get my camera working. I just looked like a complete clown. Another reason
was it better or worse?
Cooler than I am.
Yeah. Anyways, we will continue to recycle. All right. D&C 132. Verily thus saith the Lord, which, by the way, okay, to be fair, he also writes everything in like the dumbest King James English that wasn't even in use at that time.
So. And he's a contemporary of Mark Twain. So be thinking of Huckleberry Finn, and then you read this, and you go,
and you're like, wow. Verse 1, verily thus saith the Lord unto you, my servant Joseph, that inasmuch as you have inquired of my hand to know and understand wherein I, the Lord, justified my servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, also Moses, David, and Solomon, my servants, as touching the principle and doctrine of their having many wives and concubines. Behold, and lo, I am the Lord thy God, and will answer thee as touching this matter. Therefore prepare thy heart to receive, blah, 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 blah. For behold, I reveal unto you a new and everlasting covenant. This is very important language. Mormon fundamentalists, they're talking about why they think that polygamy is still allowed, because it is an everlasting covenant. And if ye abide not in that covenant, then are ye damned. So fairly clear teaching here that if you don't at least accept the idea of polygamy, you are damned. For no one can reject this covenant and be permitted to enter into my glory. If you reject polygamy, D&C 132 excludes you from salvation. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah. To answer Steph's question I don't think it does. I think it's just per account. Like YouTube's actually pretty clever with how they manage stuff. So I think just watching on one of them would count for the watch hours. It doesn't hurt to try. But
that matches the syntax of in the Gospel of John almost, but it's like, this commandment I leave you, love one another as I have loved you.
This commandment I leave you, love as many women as you got.
Anyway. But it's just like it's an interesting comparison, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Verse 5, it says, for all who will have a blessing at my hands shall abide the law which was appointed for that blessing and the conditions thereof as were instituted from before the foundation of the world. New and everlasting covenant, the conditions of this law. I think I have that. No, I don't have that in my top. So one of my other favorite arguments against Mormonism is the contradiction that they have about polygamy, but they have very slippery ways to get out of it, so it's not as convincing to them. I only included arguments in this document that were generally convincing to Mormons and like ex-Mormons to get them out. So since that wasn't really one of them, I'm not going to mention. I will briefly mention it here though. So if we look at D&C, I'll actually, hang on, I'm going to pull up my other document real quick. If you look in the Book of Mormon, where is that? If you look in the Book of Mormon.
See you, Nick.
Oh, is he leaving?
Yeah, he has to go.
Dude, I don't even want to know what your eschatology is, bro. I think it's in this one. Oh man, I'm trying to figure out. No, I think this is just the history one.
I'm not a gringo.
Anyway. Where is the actual? Sorry, I look like such a Mormon theology. Here it is. Okay, so here
Por supuesto puedo entender, lo siento. Hay una persona que está diciendo cosas malas en los comentarios y tenía que arreglarlo.
Yeah, I'm not going to do a stream in Spanish. Sorry.
Go ahead. I had to cheat that guy out.
Dang it, bro. Where do I have this at? So I have a document that outlines this whole argument, and I don't remember
failing
where it's at.
Talking about the one where it contradicts itself with polygamy being allowed and then not allowed to David?
Yes.
Solomon?
Yes. David and Solomon.
So in DOC it says that it was a punishment, or he was punished for trying to do it. David was. And then in the other one it talks about how David was rewarded with many wives. So it seems to be a contradiction. There it is.
Oh, yes. D&C 132:38. Sorry. So here's this, but then I have to find where in the Book of Mormon it talks about.
Is the Jacob passage, isn't it?
It's in.
I want to point out something real quick. So this is interesting. It looks like Joseph Smith is trying to create a bunch of parallels between himself and these prior biblical figures. This is analogous to Muhammad in the Quran, where every single biography of a prophet is just exactly like Muhammad's own life. They all go to their own people, and they say that Allah is bringing judgment, and the people don't listen, and Allah brings the judgment.
224.
So that would be another video idea. I need to bookmark all these. All right, that's all the time I bought you to think. So I hope you found something
you said
good.
Jacob, Jacob what?
Jacob 224, I think.
Bro, Jacob 2.
Yeah, Jacob 224 to 26.
Thank you for.
It was Jacob. I just remember what chapter.
Me. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. You are a lifesaver. All right. So let's read verse 38 here. It says, David also received many wives and concubines, and also Solomon and Moses from the beginning of creation until this time. Okay, well, I'll read again. Verse 38, David also received many wives and concubines, and also Solomon and Moses, my servants, as also many others of my servants from the beginning of creation until this time. And in nothing did they sin, save in those things which they received not of me. So they did not sin in any of these things. This is very important. Verse 39, David's wives and concubines were given unto him of me. Okay. Jacob 2.
From God.
Jacob 2, verse 24. Behold, David and Solomon truly had many wives and concubines, which thing was abominable before me, saith the Lord. So, now how Mormons will get around this is they'll say, well, there's other passages that talk about the fact that there were wives that, he was not given and all these things, and they sinned in those. But again, it's like this is about David and Solomon, not just whether or not polygamy is allowed. This is specifically about two people who received wives from God, but also sinned in doing those things. I'm really sorry that I could not find those things. Chris came in clutch with that. I appreciate you, Chris. We will go back to DNC 132. And we will read towards the very end where I get my favorite verses in all of Mormonism. All right. We will start in verse 51.
Oh, this is, yes.
Please hold your applause until the very end. Verse 51. Verily I say unto you, a commandment I give unto mine handmaid Emma Smith, which is Joseph Smith's wife. Your wife, whom I have given unto you, that she stay herself and partake not of that which I commanded you to offer unto her. For I did it, saith the Lord, to prove you all as I did Abraham, that I might require an offering at your hand by covenant sacrifice. And let mine handmaid Emma Smith receive all those that have been given unto my servant Joseph, and who are virtuous and pure before me. And those who are not pure and have said they were pure shall be destroyed, saith the Lord. So, in the context of polygamy, what is this talking about? Emma Smith is supposed to accept that Joseph Smith has a bunch of wives. Let's continue.
And for the passage above that, he offered her to marry another man as well. And she didn't take him up on it, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember. I don't think they allow... Well, technically they do, but behind closed doors. Verse 53 says... For I am the Lord thy God, and ye shall obey my voice, and I give unto my servant Joseph that he shall be made ruler over many things, which never happened. Well, I guess that depends on how you describe many things. If you mean a little town on the side of Illinois, yeah, then I guess. But again, yeah. For he hath been faithful over a few things. And from henceforth I will strengthen him. And I command unto Emma my handmaid to abide and cleave unto my servant Joseph. Oh, here it is. This is, all right. Verse 54 is my favorite. And I command mine handmaid Emma Smith to abide and cleave unto my servant Joseph, and to none else. But if she will not abide by this commandment, she shall be destroyed, saith the Lord. For I am the Lord thy God, and will destroy her if she abide not in my law. Okay, you say, oh, well, it's just talking about her clinging to Joseph. Yeah, well, it means cling to Joseph despite him having a bunch of other wives.
Which is called an abomination according to the Book of Abraham, or the Book of Moses.
Book of
Also,
Moses.
this is
Jacob.
Book of Mormon. Sorry, Book of Mormon.
This is
Jacob.
super similar to Muhammad in the Quran.
Rainfield.
Where he gets like
yeah,
it is,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Surah 33. Surah 33 is exactly like this.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But if she will not abide in this commandment, then shall my servant Joseph do all things for her, even as he hath said, and I will bless him and multiply him and give unto him an hundredfold in this world. In this world. Of fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters and houses and lands, wives and children and crowns of eternal lives in the eternal world. So it's not exactly 100% where this world, like the things of this world start and where the eternal world stuff starts. It can actually probably be assumed that all of it is for both worlds. Let's continue. That's the virginity thing. So yes, this, verse 54 is pretty funny to me. Yeah. Anyways, so there's another bit for you. Such a shallow proofread of what? Shallow proofread
of this text.
Proofreading it? You mean like we're editing it?
I think he's just using it as like a proof text. It's not the correct terminology, but I think that's what he means.
Okay. Using it as a proof text. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. It is a proof text. I don't mean like a taken out of context proof text. Please explain to me how Doctrines and Covenants 132 not only permits but encourages plurality of wives and requires plurality of wives, at least accepting it. All right, so there's that. And then another reason why I think Joseph Smith is a false prophet is because he staged a revolt against the government of the United States. Now, you might say, Chase, well, how come that excludes him from being a prophet? Number one, you're told to accept what the government says in the Bible. Now, not obviously in all circumstances if it's immoral or against the faith, but you're told to generally obey the law. Do you know why he staged this revolt? Because they wanted to take him to jail because he had a bunch of women and he tried to kill a bunch of people. This is why they took him to jail.
And started a fake bank. Yeah. Yes. Fraud, one might say. And then, he also bought land and then sold the land for, basically nothing. And then, yeah.
So he bought land at under fair market value and then would require that his Mormons would buy it from him at usually 6 times the price. He would require that of Mormons. This is found in multiple places.
Does it equal about 1/5 of the value of the goods?
What?
Oh, it's just like it would be another analogy to Muhammad where he requires a 5th.
Oh, right.
1/5 of all the booty.
No, actually, Joseph Smith kind of owned everything.
Members.
There was very little that his members actually owned. Yeah, I mean, if they didn't,
including the women.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So
he married a bunch of their wives.
False prophecies.
Well, he was sealed with them.
Here is Chris's favorite topic: the false prophecies of Joseph Smith. So here we have
a lot of fun ones.
Yes, there are a lot of good, fun false prophecies of Józefi Krakowski. All right, share screen. Internet Archive has come to the rescue once again. I'm sure this is completely unlegible at this, so I will
zoom in real hard. This is why you download the PDFs and then just pull the PDFs up.
Right. So here, sorry, maybe I'll zoom in even more. So here, this part of the book, just go ahead and read this part. It says, and now I am prepared to say by the authority of Jesus Christ that not many years shall pass away before the United States shall present such a scene of bloodshed as has not a parallel in the history of our nation. Pestilence, hail, famine, and earthquake will sweep the wicked of this generation from off the face of the land to open and prepare the way for the return of those lost tribes of Israel from the north country. The people of the Lord, those who have compiled or have complied with the requirements of the new covenant, have already commenced gathering together to Zion, which is in the state of Missouri. Therefore, I declare unto you the warning which the Lord has commanded me to declare unto this generation, remembering that the eyes of my Maker are upon me, and that to him I am accountable for every word I say, wishing nothing worse to my fellow men than their eternal salvation. This, by the way, reminds me of whenever the Jews were like, let his blood be upon me and us and our kids. He's like, I remember that the eyes of my Maker are upon me. It's like, I don't think you understand what you're saying. So anyways, that's kind of all I wanted to read. This is the important part here, right? So you say, well, Chase, didn't the Civil War come after Joseph Smith? And didn't it represent the largest scene of bloodshed that the United States has ever seen? You would be correct. You know what you're not correct on, though? That pestilence, hail, famine, and earthquake were the reasons why. You would not be correct on that. Pestilence, yes. People died because of disease. That was probably the biggest factor in the death of both civilians and military casualties during the Civil War. Hail, not a significant factor of death during the Civil War. It wasn't really even a factor of destructing, or of it wasn't even a factor of like destruction, really.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't that many bad hailstorms during the Civil War.
Did he believe there were tribes of Israel in Canada?
We will get there.
In the Arctic.
Yeah.
What?
Like
that's the coolest thing I've ever heard about Mormons. See, I don't know as much as you guys. So he thought they were like frozen under the ice, waiting.
Yes. No, living up there.
No, essentially they were living there. Yeah.
Okay, that's not as cool.
Frozen Jews.
Third, there's also a possible belief of them living on the moon.
Esca Jews.
Which is way more debated. But you do have some sources within Mormonism of people living on the moon, space Jews.
That's funny. They didn't look Druish. Have you ever seen Spaceballs?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have.
It's funny. She doesn't look Druish. She's a druid.
Right. Third.
Hugh Schwartz.
So, Nicholas, you got the right spirit, but your argument maybe needs a little bit of work. Third, famine. Absolutely. Plenty of soldiers and civilians all died because of lack of food during the Civil War. Fourth, earthquake. From what Chris and I remember, I don't think there was a single earthquake during the Civil War.
There was one earthquake during the Civil War, no casualties. There wasn't even damage to buildings. Yeah.
So it's like, wait.
It's not even a quake. That's like an earth quiver. That's just like it's like a sneeze.
Right. Like you would expect New Madrid fault line to open up during the Civil War and to swallow all these people up, but it didn't happen. Also, there was a guy we debated who was like, well, what about the earthquake that happened like so long after it that was in like Charleston or whatever? And it was like, first of all,
years later.
First of all, you said during the Civil War. So don't get it. Hey, you were the one who said it was during the Civil War. And secondly, that's like, 30 years later. So yes, there is prophecy number one.
False.
Also, I would like to say, even if we grant all four of those things, in what meaningful way did the Civil War prepare the way for the return of the Jews?
Well, it's not the Jews, it's the lost tribes. So it's the 10 tribes that were lost and living in the Arctic with the bears. And then they came down after the Civil War in droves. Which actually, fun fact, after the Civil War, there were less Jews in Canada than beforehand, if I remember correctly. Because I looked up the statistics on Jews in the North as well. And it was also against the claims of this.
Well, it was too crowded back in the 1860s, the continental United States. They all needed to be killed like a giant meat grinder. And I'm sure that the earth was quaking as they shot their rifles And so the quaking earth killed enough people where now the Eskimo Jews can come down.
Yeah.
Again,
I think it was actually that there were Jews that fled America to go up into Canada during that time.
That's what I was gonna say.
I think it was actually an increase in Canada and a decrease in America. Yeah, decrease in America, increase in Canada. So it literally was the inverse. They went to the North Country.
What? Yeah. So they were supposed to wait, hold on. Lost tribes from the North Country, though, to prepare the way for the return from the.
So what happened in Mormon history is during the first exile, the first destruction of the temple, there was apparently a massive group of Israelites of a variety of the tribes, maybe all 12 of the tribes, but a variety of the tribes, and they traveled from Israel to America. And then Native Americans are actually Jews.
So it was mostly from the tribes that come from Joseph. From what I remember, because I know it explicitly states in the Book of Mormon that Nephi is from Joseph, and I think it states that there were only a few families on the ship, from what I remember. Let me see.
And the Jews were evil is why their skin became red.
I feel like there's a map out there drawn in crayon by Joseph Smith that explains all this. It'd be like,
well, he came up with that when he was like 16. So
that the Jews all live up in Alaska?
That they exegete, like they left from Israel and came to America. Because Jesus also taught to American Jews who are also Native Americans whenever he died and resurrected. So apparently 2,000 years ago, the Jews in America heard Jesus preach and came to faith in him. But then some of them, if I remember correctly, they ignored Jesus and they were cursed with darker skin, which is why the Native Americans had darker skin. Because dark skin is a sign of cursing in Mormonism, which is why black people weren't allowed into heaven until like the 1980s. It's like over 100 years ago.
Like, I could get into the black people thing. If
I have a bunch of little curses,
but
like tiny curses.
Yeah, I got one there, one here.
I got some freckles. Yeah.
No, I can go way in depth in their view of black people if you'd like, but I don't want to do that. Apparently there were only 2 tribes represented on the ship, which is technically one tribe, which is the tribe of Joseph. So Ephraim and Manasseh were on the ship as the main representatives, but I don't think that there were any other tribes represented, or any other named tribes at the very least represented on there. Obviously some of the people could have been descended from other, members of Israel, just didn't know. But all of it's false anyway, so it's not like it's really even worth talking about. Okay. History of the Church, Volume 5, includes another one of Joseph Smith's wonderful and amazing prophecies, which he bestowed upon us because the Lord has a massive sense of humor. So here in this is essentially a like a conference. So it says here in the highlighted portion, President Smith, in concluding his remarks, said that if the government, which received into its coffers the money of citizens for its public lands while its officials are rolling in luxury at the expense of its public treasury, cannot protect such citizens in their lives and properties, it is an old granny anyhow. And I prophesy in the name of the Lord God, which, by the way, the United States was like not that old. And I prophesy in the name of the Lord God of Israel, unless the United States redress the wrongs committed upon Mormons in the state of Missouri and punish the crimes committed by our officers, that in a few years the government will be utterly overthrown and wasted, and there will not be so much as a potsherd left for their wickedness in permitting the murder of men, women, and children, and the wholesale plunder and extermination of thousands of our citizens to go unpunished, thereby perpetrating a foul and corroding blot upon the fair fame of this great republic, the very thought of which would have caused the high-minded and patriotic framers of the Constitution of the United States to hide their faces with shame. So he starts off by saying that the United States is old and fat and luxurious and terrible, and then he ends it with a great republic. Great. But regardless, so here's the part that we would like to get to. So the government receives public funding, kills Mormons, and then unless they redress their wrongs, they will be overthrown. Christian Gadfly, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, and I know that this might be, it takes some real elite ball knowledge, but did America get overthrown?
Oh yeah. So gosh, I was trying to think of some dumb way to answer this. Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
Not to my knowledge either, Christian Gadfly. Not to my knowledge either. Yeah,
in the 1840s specifically.
And Chris, I hate to put you on the spot here, and I know this is elite ball knowledge as well, but did the United States ever redress or apologize for what they did to the Mormons?
They doubled down on it for some sections of it, yeah.
Amen.
So it's actually, it was legal to kill Mormons up until recent history in
Missouri.
Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah, Missouri, it was, if you found a Mormon, you were allowed to kill them up until like the 1900s, like late 1900s.
1960s. Yeah, 1960s.
1960s.
It was redressed.
So for 100 years,
right,
you could just kill Mormons legally in Missouri.
It was called the Mormon Extermination Order. Anyways, so yes, their wickedness was not redressed, and America is still here. Now they'll say, "Oh, but you see, the government is completely different." It's like, in what meaningful way is that overthrown and wasted? Like, that's not the same at all. At all. All right.
What I'm sure will be conquered eventually, because that's just the way history goes.
Right.
Nations get conquered. But look, it says in a few years.
Right. It says a few
1840s.
Years,
which is like in the 1840s, that's a pretty good, you could bet that, and it seems like it might happen, especially if you think the South might conquer the North or something, you know?
Right.
All right.
Got it wrong.
Here we have section 84 of Doctrines and Covenants, which, again, another based section because it includes a false prophecy. This is 1832, September 22nd and 23rd. Islam is...
Islam is more believable.
I don't know. I'm still on the fence if I would be a Mormon or a Muslim. I digress.
I think Islam is more believable, but simply because it's able to hide behind this veneer of age and another language. And so the stupidity of it, you have to dive deep before the dumbness just sweeps over you.
Right.
Like I was like, oh, I guess it's just sort of like Judaism. I had to like read the whole Quran and read Surat Rasulullah, and then you have to like think about what it really means before the stupidity hits you. But with this, it's like I can pick it up immediately. It's in my native language. It's in modern English. And it's like I know everything he's talking about culturally and historically and contextually. Like, the guy's just obviously a moron.
Yes, indeed. The Jesus of mainstream Christianity is a xenophobic, racist, geographically limited. Like it's crazy work. Hey, go watch Christian Gadfly, please, for the hours. Anyways, we have Doctrines and Covenants, section 84, revealed in 1832. By the way, keep this in mind. This is verse 1, a revelation of Jesus Christ unto his servant Joseph Smith Jr. and 6 elders as they united their hearts and lifted their voices on high. Yea, the word of the Lord concerning his church established in the last days for a restoration of his people, as he has spoken by the mouth of his prophets, and for the gathering of all his saints to stand upon Mount Zion, which shall be the city of New Jerusalem, which city shall be built beginning at the temple lot, which is appointed by the finger of the Lord in the western boundaries of the state of Missouri, and dedicated by the hand of Joseph Smith Jr. and others with whom the Lord was well pleased. Verily, this word of the Lord, that the new city of Jerusalem shall be built, the city New Jerusalem shall be built by the gathering of the saints, beginning at this place, even the place of the temple, which the temple shall be reared in this generation. Verily, this generation shall not pass away until an house shall be built unto the Lord, and a cloud shall rest upon it, which cloud shall be even the glory of the Lord, which shall fill the house. Now, I have one image that I would like to show you.
Oh, it's so good.
Of a certain location.
Brother, why are we going to talk about him marrying teenagers? Also, I hate myself that I know what that means. But Yeah, no.
That is crazy that you know what that means. Here
There's
we
like
have
6 different words for it, including the old ones. Anyway.
Here we have
pedophile technically only means like 2 to 5. Anyway.
Here we have one of my favorite images on all of the internet, which I will share now. I would like for you all to notice one glaring and obvious problem with his prophecy. Where's the temple? Where's the temple? There is no temple. He was wrong. Sealings are actually the same thing as marriage, mostly, but he tried to downplay it. There is no temple in the temple lot. And he said that would be the generation. Now, Christian, you know, if we're really thinking, and if we're being real liberal, a generation could be what, you think? 80 years? You know, maybe if the person that heard that was like 10 years old, died at 90, which was way, way, way longer than average for that time. But died at about 80 years. Brother, we are over 170 years post this dude. No temple.
Also, generation's roughly about 30 years.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is, even if we talk about,
I know, even if you give him like
time of
120 years, yeah.
Joke's on you. The temple is an ant bed that's down there, and it was built within his lifetime.
Right. The worst part is,
you also need the glory cloud to rest in it in order for it to be true.
Lawful Good makes a good point. It's not even owned by the LDS Church. It's owned by the Reformed LDS Church, and they refuse to build a temple there. So there's that.
Well, they tried and they couldn't raise enough money because it wasn't the LDS doing it. Yeah, so the official big named LDS group doesn't own the land. Another spin-off cult of LDS theology owns it. They tried to build it like 2 or 3 times. They were stopped by the city to build it the first time because the city hates the fact that it even exists.
And because they stole
Missouri is
the land.
Missouri is extremely deeply anti-Mormonism. It's kind of based.
This should be Popeyes over there.
There's some plaques on the land that says
Dollar
this
General.
is where the temple's supposed to be.
What if they erected a Dollar General supermarket there?
They refused to sell the land. There's been a whole thing. There's been like multiple lawsuits on it.
Get some of these biscuits. Yeah. Anyway,
I know who you're quoting. I know who you're quoting. Are you quoting that dude, that big old fat black dude who would shake his head?
Mm-hmm.
God, I loved that. He died. I was so sad to hear that. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, literally.
So on this land, there are posts because Joseph Smith walked the land and here's one corner, here's one corner, here's one corner, and here's one corner. So you can actually see where each of the corners are to the temple, and in it is just nothingness. The fact that this is just grass proves Mormonism is false, by itself.
True that.
Let alone all the other things we talked about.
So that was the last of his false prophecies. This cumulative case,
there's some more of those.
No, there's way more. That's the last of his false prophecies that we will go through, or that are in my notes.
I want to bring up one real quick. It's kind of just really funny to me. So there's one prophecy of him in, I think it's Salem. But he's like, okay, you're gonna go to the city, and you're gonna find gold and treasure buried under this house. And that's a prophecy, and it's declared from God that it's going to happen. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It's really, really, really one of my favorite false prophecies. There's lots of false prophecies of Joseph Smith. That's top 5 for me.
How'd you learn so much about this? I've never studied Mormonism.
Mike Winger got me into it, and then it was really funny, so then I just went deeper into it.
Well, now I'm not interested at all.
David
this is
Wood
DOC 100. David Wood. This is DOC 111. I'll pull it up real quick on churchofchrist.org.
DOC makes me think of Daughter of Christ, and earlier I thought you were saying DNC. I was like, Democratic National Convention.
Well, it is D.
It is DNC.
Oh, D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doctrines and Covenants.
Okay.
How big is Doctrines and Covenants? If I was holding the book of it in my hand,
maybe as big as like
138.
Do you have
sections?
Do you have a copy?
It'd probably be like not much bigger than like this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like or smaller than this. Yeah.
So maybe 200.
Probably a little bit smaller.
And
130, 140.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a website where I could see these links that we've brought up today?
I have a document.
Yeah, their website.
Okay.
Okay. churchofjesuschrist.org has all of it.
I'll send you my doc.
So this is the LDS website that I'm looking at right now.
Oh, I know, but I mean the citations where he's like, here's this part that shows that he was pro polygamy, and he just has it ready.
Yeah. That's on my document. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite sections. So we're going to go through 1 through 5, and I'm going to be like, okay, well, what's happening here? I, the Lord your God, am not displeased with your coming this journey, notwithstanding your follies. Well, why is this happening? It's because he's traveling. This is 1836. He travels to Salem, Massachusetts, because there's a dude there who said, hey, there's some money buried under this house. I'm going to give it to you when you get here. And Joseph Smith is all about the money and the women. Kind of like Muhammad. Muhammad is all about money and about women and food. Those were his two great pleasures. Joseph Smith was a treasure hunter, and then he was a polygamist. So he's always been about money and women.
Both of
here's one of his about.
They're both missing one.
About money.
Got to get paid, got to get laid, got to smoke hay.
Well,
right.
Muhammad did really love perfume. Who knows what all was in that? Anyway.
Oh, wow. The rapper, I just quoted his name, Big Mo. It's kind of like Muhammad.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So he's traveling to Salem. He's not just traveling there. He's taking his whole congregation at this point. This is 36. So this is like 8 years before he dies. And it's like, okay, this whole community is traveling with him to Salem to establish the church there. So this is a prophecy of God given to Joseph Smith. I, the Lord your God, am not displeased with your coming this journey, notwithstanding your follies. I have much treasure in the city for you for the benefit of Zion. This is the church. And many people in the city whom I will gather out in due time for the benefit of Zion through your instrumentality. Therefore, it is expedient that you should form acquaintance with men in this city. So he's already been informed before he gives this prophecy of this thing from a person living there. As you shall be led, and as it shall be given to you. And it shall come to pass in due time that I will give the city into your hands, and you shall have power over it, another false claim, inasmuch as they shall not discover your secret parts, and its wealth pertaining to gold and silver shall be yours. Concern not yourselves about your debts, for I will give you power to pay them. So he is deeply in debt, which is why he ended up starting the fake bank and then just printing money. But the first, or this might be the second one, but the first one that I can think of is this, where he's like, okay, I'm in all this debt. I'm going to go find treasure. Because again, he's a treasure hunter. That's what his family profession was before he became a false prophet. So we have him getting a letter from a dude in Salem, him traveling his whole community there to find this gold and silver. Mm-hmm. It's not there. The dude that told him it would be there leaves. So then he just gets there. He doesn't conquer the city. He has no power over it. He ends up having to leave Salem and go more west because he gets kicked out of New York. And none of this happens. Like every single claim that is in this prophecy is false. Every single one of them. And it was only given because of human knowledge that was given to him that was also false. So the dude lied to him about this and then, fled after he figured out that he actually came. So this is human false knowledge that prompted this false prophecy to then get his whole community to go and then not fulfill any of it.
Yep. He also made his entire group pack up from Kirtland, Ohio, and move to far west Missouri, and then they literally would not let them into the town, and so they had to go back. That was also prophesied. God literally said, "Hey, if you pack up and move down there, I'm going to give the city into your hand." And then he didn't. And they had to go all the way back. 30 some odd people died. Or 18, sorry. I think like 18 people just died on the way there and back. Crazy. Anyway,
yeah.
Andy
So
Custard.
for the Zion claims, he believed the Garden of Eden was in America.
Right.
So because the Garden of Eden it was in America, that is now the new Zion. Like he's going to reestablish Zion in America where the Garden of Eden was.
Yeah.
With all the Jews that fled from the first temple. And then the glory cloud that's going to rest on that is now establishing the temple in an official, authentic way, in the same way that the first temple was established. So he's using some old covenant language to establish his credibility, but the problem is none of it happened.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to go into this?
Dude,
this is one of the best proofs against Mormonism.
Y'all gotta stop. I'm getting there. Y'all gotta calm down.
I'll let you cook. I'll let you cook.
Smooth it off. All right. So, like Chris says, Chris's favorite arguments against Mormonism tend to be the false prophecies. And while I agree that those are fantastic, they have a lot of slippery, slimy ways to get out of it. The one argument that I have never successfully had a Mormon slippery slide out of is the argument of what I like to call horses, chariots, steel, oh my. Now, why do I call it this? Because Joseph Smith said that there were horses, that there were chariots, and that there was steel in America pre-Columbus. Now, this is all wrong. These three things never existed in the United States or in America pre him. The horses that were there died out 10,000 years-ish before Columbus got there, if you take that dating to be correct. Which, honestly, when it comes to that kind of thing, it makes more sense that way because no Native American civilization has any knowledge of a horse pre-Columbus.
I want to say something about this particular argument. So when I was 25, I became an atheist for about a year. And coming up out of that, because I was raised Christian and deconstructed my faith, became an atheist. Coming up out of that, I first left nihilism because I was like, well, either life has meaning or it doesn't. And then I did something kind of like Pascal's wager. I was like, well, I'm better off believing that it does have meaning just in case that it does. And then that kind of attacked my materialism. And then so did the idea that I exist. So either I exist or I don't exist. And in materialism, I'm just nothing but a bunch of determinative physics. And so I don't actually exist. So it's like, I do exist. I have a purpose. What is that? And so I kind of was a vague deist, but I was examining a whole bunch of different religions. And this is when I first read Nabil Qureshi's book, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. It was around this time period. I studied Islam for about 2 months before I was, and I even had an agnostic shahada at the beginning. I was like, is there no God but Allah? Is Muhammad his prophet? It took me about 2 months of studying before I was pretty sure it was wrong. I studied Mormonism. Within 2 hours, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it was this argument that I ran into. And I was reading the testimony of an ex-Mormon online. I have the link saved. It was so impactful for me. It was a big part of this journey, figuring out what I actually believe.
Right.
Whoever that guy is, thank you. You saved me a lot of time. I found that one testimony, fact check 2 random things from his thing. He was correct. And then I was like, oh, wow, this is so ridiculous. How does anybody believe this? And so, this is a really good argument.
It's my favorite.
And it's good. Yeah, and it's good even for someone who's an objective, doesn't know what they believe, fact seeker. It's the perfect argument for them because that's where I was. And I saw that and I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't know how anybody believes this. All right, keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, My Fairy Tale Life, you should join Christian Gadfly's stream if you're not there already.
Indeed.
We're trying to get
you are there already. Never mind. You got it.
Yeah,
all right, cool. He said,
what was the argument that you thought was the best?
There's no metal, and metal is not something you can hide.
Okay.
You have to have all of this equipment and mines and like giant holes in the ground. Yeah,
steel.
The ovens designed for
horses. No, I'm gonna get into all that. So
we talked about how there's whole armies of people with armor on, and none of it is there anymore. Yeah,
no archaeology whatsoever.
I've confronted Mormons on it, and it's actually pretty insane how they try and justify it, but it doesn't actually work. So Ether 9, share, bibbity bop. Do the thing. Okay, thank you. All right. So here in Ether chapter 9, verse 16, it says, "And the Lord began to take the curse from off the land, and the house of Amer did prosper exceedingly under the reign of Amer. And in the space of 62 years, they had become exceedingly strong, insomuch that they became exceedingly rich, having all manner of fruit and grain, of silks, and of fine linen, of gold, and of silver, and of precious things, and also all manner of cattle, of oxen, and cows, and all sheep, and of swine, and of goats, and also many other kinds of animals which were useful for the food of man." I'm going to stop right here. This is also... okay, never mind. Verse 19, this is the biggest part. "And they also had horses and asses, and there were elephants and curulams and kumams, all of which were useful unto man, and more especially the elephants and the curulams and the kumams," whatever those things are.
Yeah, Christian, what do you think a curulam and a kumam are?
A curulam, I imagine it being kind of like a Moogle from Final Fantasy. It's kind of cute, little bear-looking thing, and it's got a big red ball for a tail. A kumam, I imagine it's more reptilian. It's got a big jaw, maybe brown spots on it.
Yes, that is what we are doing, Ash.
We're reading the Dungeons and Dragons manual.
Ash, I don't think you understand. I think Ash was here one time when we were talking about Mormonism, and Ash was flabbergasted.
That's me now. I didn't know,
So what? Yes, here's the thing, right?
Wild, dude.
They had horses. Christian Gadfly, I know I keep putting you on the spot. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to do it, but for this one more time, please excuse me. Just one more time. Were horses found in pre-Columbian America?
Maybe pre-Ice Age, like little tiny horses you couldn't even ride, but not like horses you're thinking of in your head now.
Okay.
Not after the destruction of the first temple.
Right. That's what I was going to say. It's not. It's
not
during the time frame that the Israelites would have been in there.
From 500 BC to 1300 AD, were there any horses in America?
And no mammoths either, so that's out.
Was there steel?
I was like thinking as a lawyer, what is the most wiggly worm way I could try to argue?
You could say, oh, well, it's not really a horse, but Joseph Smith didn't really know how else to describe the animal, so he just called it a horse, which, number one, makes no sense because he said he translated this. So how do you translate an animal that has a name? Plates? Yes.
Okay.
Ether 9. Yeah. How do you translate the name of a being that you don't know what it looks like?
Hold on.
As a horse.
What is the name of this book?
Ether. Or Ether. I call it Ether. I've never been corrected. So
what is that supposed to mean in Hebrew? Ash, you know Hebrew.
No, so that's the thing. If you're familiar with the Book of Mormon, it's full of Jewish sounding names that mean like stupid, like that have no meaning or are like just terrible. Like Chase. Nephi is my favorite. We talked about Nephi with Ash on the channel, and Ash was like, Nephi sounds like the most white person, like trying to be Jewish type name I ever heard. I was like, I know.
Chase, have you seen the list of those baseball players from a 90s like Japanese baseball game? They're supposed to be American names. It is so funny. It's like Rim Sanchez. I gotta pull that up. Hold on.
Yes. Ether is actually a name of a city in the Old Testament. So it's a city that was conquered by Joshua. It was a Canaanite city specifically.
Right.
So it does exist. It is, well, it's Canaanite in Hebrew, but it is Hebrew in the Bible.
Well, yeah, like Moses and Jacob also are in here, and they also exist. I was more meaning like the weird, the weird ones.
Is this supposed to be a translation from Hebrew for like horses?
This is Reformed Egyptian. If you remember correctly, because if you remember, the tablets are in Reformed Egyptian.
I forgot the Book of Mormon was the Reformed Egyptian. Oh man. Oh, that's why the Book of Abraham is from the funeral papyri.
Right.
Is to validate his translation of the Book of Mormon.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's Egyptian to Egyptian. I have to stop sharing this to share this. All right.
Oh, that's fine. Can y'all see here?
The people that have Cummins, Chris. No.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm looking.
Sleeve
early 6th century BC was when. So
Sleeve McDykel.
Sleeve.
Onsen Sweeney.
Dickel, but
Daryl Archideld. Anatoly Smorin. Ray McSriff.
I'm sure someone's been named that.
Glenn Allen Mixon. Mario McElwain. This is
Glenn Allen is a first name.
This is Mormon.
There's so many of them Italian.
Mormon Hebrew. Raul Chandler.
Well, it's baseball.
Kevin Nogalini. Tony Schmerick. Bobson Dugnut. Willie Dustis. That's a good one. Jeremy Gride. Scott Durkay. Sean Fricott. Dean Westray. Mike Truck. Dwiggett. Portugal instead of Portugal. Tim Sandaley.
Dwiggett.
Carl Dandleton. Dandleton. Mike Hernandez. Todd Gonzalez.
Gonzalez is crazy.
Bob Dugnut.
He said, "Where is Rim Sanchez?" Anyways, so here's the horses now.
Kurlams and Kumams.
Now, so yeah, that's one of the things they'll say. They'll say, "Well, they didn't know." Well, according to this, he translated these two things, and they didn't know what those were.
From Egyptian. Yeah.
So it's like, why didn't he just call it what it was in the original text? All right.
Isn't horse in Egyptian the same as hold on, Hebrew?
Yeah, I remember. Now we get to my favorite. Oh no, that's not my favorite. Sorry, my favorite's the other one.
No, not the horse gods.
This is chariots. This is my second favorite actually. So you have in 3rd Nephi chapter 3 verse 22 it says, "And it came to pass in the 17th year, in the latter end of the year, the proclamation of Laconeus, had gone."
That sounds like fake Greek.
Yeah, I know. Had gone forth throughout all the face of the land, and they had taken their horses and their chariots and their cattle and all their flocks and their herds and their grain and all their substance, and did march forth by thousands and by tens of thousands until they had all gone forth to the place which had been appointed that they should gather themselves together to defend themselves against their enemies. Now,
so these are supposed to be Jews in like 500 BC, and one of them's named Laconeus?
Yes. Or Laconius, maybe. I don't actually remember how it's pronounced.
Doesn't matter. It's like very obviously fake Greek.
It's like Greek, yeah.
Even got a chi. There is no CH in Hebrew.
Well, it's from the Bible. I mean,
well, it's because the New Testament has Greek names, and so
the New Testament is Greek.
Mixing it all together.
Yeah, you can't actually use the New Testament for the Old Testament Jews.
Yeah,
but
all right. So, Chris, just real quick, I have a question for you. What is the one massive? Well, there's actually several, but what is the biggest glaring issue with there being chariots in America pre-Columbus?
Iron and wheels. Neither of those existed.
Okay, so yes, those were the other ones. I was thinking that there were literally no animals that could pull a chariot at that time.
Well, yeah. Well, so if you have horses, though, you could theoretically have chariots, but you
Exactly.
don't have wheels or iron, so therefore you
Precisely.
still couldn't do it. Yeah, the closest thing you have to be able to pull a chariot back then, which is why they didn't. So like the Native Americans legitimately didn't invent the wheel. That's not a joke. That's not an insult. They just didn't have it. Why did they not have it? The only animal that could be a beast of burden is a bison, and you're not going to tame a bison. You could try. You're going to die. You're not going to tame a bison. You're not going to be able to like saddle it. You're going to die. So
Right.
they can't use bison the way that we can use cows. Well, not cows, oxen or buffalo. We like Africa and Europe had these species that could do it. America didn't. There's
Right.
literally not a single draft animal that existed. So you don't have wheels. You have no need for it. They didn't do anything. You do have like rollers to like move stones, but that's not a wheel. And yeah, so your lack of wheels, your lack of iron, and lack of horses, none of that is possible.
Yeah,
And a
I
cattle.
think the closest you get's like a sundial in like Aztec culture to a wheel, but they didn't use that to like move stuff. So, I digress.
That was so when we were kids, when I was like maybe 13 or 14, we visited Mexico City, and my dad was like, "Man, this is just such a bloody culture." Talking about the Aztecs, they're just horrible. They kill everything. And then my sister was like, "They're not all bad. Look over there, Dad. They had a wheel." And then we went over and looked at the wheel, and it was actually just like this thing to sacrifice people on. It's like not a wheel at all. It's so funny.
Oh, don't get me started with the skin suits, man.
So here we have 2 Nephi chapter 5 and verse 15. This is probably my most slam dunk argument against Mormonism. It says, "And I did teach my people to build buildings and to work in all manner of wood and of iron and of copper and of brass and of steel and of gold and of silver and of precious ores which were in great abundance." Now, they will say, "Oh, but steel, but he was really just talking about the metals of that time." Is that right? Well, there's iron here and copper and brass, and how come he mentions steel as if it's separate from all those things? Because it is, because he genuinely thinks that the Native Americans, by virtue of being Jewish, got steel. Now,
yep,
it is literally impossible for them to have had steel. And the reasons why is because, number one, when we talked about this, it wasn't invented by the time that the Jews had gone over to America. 2,
and it was invented in China, so they wouldn't have no access to it. It wasn't even invented by Europeans.
2, and I don't say this lightly, 2, if a civilization gets an advanced technology like steel, it doesn't die out. And so you can't just say, "Oh, well, they got steel, but then their civilization died out." There would have to be evidence of that, and there is no evidence of that. The Native American tribes, as far as we're aware, lived pretty well similarly to how they lived when Columbus got there for a while. That's just kind of how they lived. And there's evidence of some like cities in Northern America, some places, but it's really spotty and we don't actually know what was going on. So there was none of this stuff was happening. Steel requires folding forges. It requires massive amounts of heat that you could totally produce from America, but they just didn't know about those things. It required the smelting of several different ores and combining them into what's known as an alloy. They did that for some things, but it was mostly just gold and making it harder with like
they made bronze,
but like
brass.
Did they make weapons out of metal? Yeah, every once in a while. Like they would make daggers made of gold to sacrifice kids. Or they would make but like this
Skin
idea
humans.
of steel and like swords and stuff that we're actually going to get to in the next. So in Ether chapter 7, share this tab instead. It says, wherefore he came to the hill Ephraim, and he did molten out of the hill and made swords out of the steel for those whom he had drawn away with him. So he made swords. Also, he made swords out of the molten stuff he got out of this one hill. It's like, wait, what? It had everything.
Hundreds of years before steel swords were invented.
One hill had everything that you needed to make steel, like right there. What?
This is so grammatically awkward too. Wherefore he came to the hill Ephraim, and he did molten out of the hill, and made swords out of steel for those whom he had drawn away with him. Yes. And after he had armed them with swords, he returned to the city Nehor, and gave battle unto his brother Korihor, by which means he obtained the kingdom. And it's trying to imitate the clunkiness of going from Hebrew into English, but it's not doing it correctly, and it wouldn't even need to do it if he's getting this from like a supernatural translation.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, he was a very young man whenever he wrote this, so he just wasn't very good at writing.
What does Korihor mean? And Nehor, like these would all have meanings.
Because he probably did. He probably didn't write most of the Book of Mormon. He had scribes who did that for him. He had his face buried in his hat with his magic rock too long to write actually write anything. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, Christian Gadfly. Okay. Well, okay. This is a whole other discussion, but Joseph Smith, in order to divine where he could find and dig up buried treasure, would use what's known as a seer stone, which is literally just a translucent rock. And he would put it in the hat, in his like black top hat, and he would put the hat over his face, and through the rock he would be able to see where to dig up treasure. I kid you not, this is a real thing that he actually did, and he used that method to translate the Book of Mormon. Largely, the sources say that he rarely ever even looked at the tablets.
Were there other occult people who did that same practice in that time period?
Yes,
okay, well, that's another analogy to Islam, where they
learned it
around the Kaaba.
Yeah, he learned it from a lady. Her name was
this is basically what he would do.
I don't remember. Yeah, this is exactly what he would do. Actually,
he would stare into a hat, slightly, asphyxiate himself, and then spout nonsense for hours.
Hours upon hours.
Much better creativity than Muhammad, because Muhammad was the ear. At least Joseph Smith invented it. It's just really dumb.
Yeah, he's not copying anybody. No one wrote something this
dude. Right. Joseph Smith was Dwayne Johnson. So if hang on, if Momo was the ear because of his methods, then that makes Joseph Smith Dwayne Johnson because of The Rock.
Because he stared at a rock?
Yes, bro. Anyways. And the stone would choke him and exclaim, read.
I can't read.
I can't read. Oliver's like, what are you talking about, Joseph? Anyways.
Dude, Muslims have no defense against Mormonism.
They don't.
They should believe it.
That is.
They have absolutely no way to disprove it.
Other than
they need Muslims to each other.
They would just say, "Hey, it's abrogated."
Can you imagine what?
And then Mormonism's true.
That would be. Oh my gosh!
Mormonism is true by default because of Islam.
That would be so good. Crazy. Especially if there was two smart ones, like a smart Muslim and a smart Mormon, and they just like tore each other.
Jacob Hansen would absolutely demolish any Dawa guy. Jacob Hansen is a fantastic debater, by the way, but he would absolutely tear apart. Oh, horrible theology, but he would tear apart any Dawa guy. The guy's disingenuous with the Bible, but I have a feeling he would be less disingenuous with the Quran. All right, so there's that. So that's my favorite argument against Mormonism. It says that there's steel. There's no steel in pre-Columbian America. All right, Native Americans are Jews. here we have Doctrines and Covenants 54, verse 8. And thus you shall take your journey into the regions westward unto the land of Missouri, unto the borders of the Lamanites.
It was already called Missouri.
Yes, pretty well. No, so this is in Doctrines and Covenants.
It's already.
Oh, okay.
This is not in the Book of Mormon.
Ancient Israelites talking.
Yeah, they were like,
still, that sounds so stupid in such an antiquated sentence. And thus you shall take your journey into the regions westward unto the restaurant of Burger King. You know, like it just sounds stupid. Under the borders of the Lamanites.
So yeah. So essentially what this is saying is, look, the Lamanite people are in and around Missouri. Right? So, but if we look at, I don't know, literally anything, I just have this Wikipedia article pulled up here. The genetic history of the indigenous peoples of America, which doesn't even make any sense, but before European contact, haplogroups or haplotypes, hang on, two distinctive ones. Ancient East Asian lineage and ancient North Eurasians, but that's very small population from there. Ancient East Asian peoples.
Mm-hmm.
Notice what this doesn't say is Jews.
Jews. Right.
Okay.
No, you're not the bad Jews. The Lamanites are the bad Jews.
No, yeah. Yes, mostly.
They're not the Nephites. The Nephites are the heroes. The Lamanites
Nephites are the cool guys.
The antagonist.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yes. Anyways, I tried to bring this up with if you guys want to see some of our conversations with Mormons, we have some live streams up on Sons of Thunder. But we I talked to a guy about this, and he was like, well, but and what if it's so thin in there? It's like, well, actually it couldn't be, because if you read the Book of Mormon, these people were like everywhere. They propagated into an entire civilization. Like, there's no way their DNA is just gone. Like, they were very prevalent there. So yes. Anyways, this is all wrong. I don't really need to share with you why that's wrong. It just really is. This one has to be one of my favorites. This is Joseph Smith inserting himself into the Bible. So, we have here in Genesis chapter 50, one of the greatest verses that the Bible never had. Verse 33. And that seer will I bless, and they that seek to destroy him shall be confounded. For this promise I give unto you, for I will remember you from generation to generation, and his name shall be called Joseph. And it shall be after the name of his father, and he shall be like unto you. For the thing which the Lord shall bring forth by his hand shall bring many people, or shall bring my people unto salvation. So his name is Joseph. He's named after his father. Well, what was Joseph Smith's name? Joseph, after his father, Joseph Smith Sr. So he literally inserted himself into Genesis 50. And if you go to any manuscript of Genesis 50, do you know what you're not going to find?
This verse?
Any of this. Yeah, Parakletos.
Okay, you know about that.
Yeah.
Muhammad and Song of Solomon. No, wait,
yes.
no. Okay.
Mahmadim.
Yeah. So for those who are not aware, Genesis 50 ends in verse 26. This is verse 33. So he didn't just insert himself, he added verses to Genesis 50 to insert himself.
And it's funny because he also adds prophecies about things that are like about to happen. I say about to happen a few generations down
in his
the line.
lifetime.
But it says, and the Lord sware unto Joseph that he would preserve his seed forever, saying, I will raise up Moses, and a rod shall be in his hand, and he shall gather my people, and he shall lead them as a flock, and he shall smite the waters of the Red Sea with this rod. It's funny because it's like, why is he being so specific to this dude? Anyways. So yes, this is completely false. But what's funny is that Mormons don't even use the Joseph Smith translation. And when you ask them why, they're like, oh, well, because it wasn't finished. It's like, well, shouldn't you use the part that was? Like, Shouldn't you at least use the part that was finished?
Right.
I do own this translation, actually. I have it in my fiction section of my bookshelf.
The Book of Mormon is actually a much easier and honestly better read than the Quran is.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the Quran is just confusing. Whereas the
Quran is really bad.
The Book of Mormon isn't as confusing. It's just telling a story that's wrong.
Yeah, no, this is just
it's very dumb, but it's readable dumb.
Right. Yeah, the Quran is just like, you need to follow Allah or you'll go to hell. And he says that over and over
and over
yeah. and over. And then little tiny blips of stories that are like scrambled and stupid. But there's like not even a whole collected narrative except Surah 12. That's the only one. And it's told way worse than the Bible anyway.
It's just the rabbinic version, and Syriac version of it.
Yeah,
Well, even Surah 12 doesn't actually make sense whenever you examine the text. Like, there's like 10 passages in it that make literally no sense whatsoever why it's in there. The tafsir are quoting the Talmud to explain them, which is really funny.
It's the best that the Quran has is Surah 12, and it's crap. And then the rest is even worse. Yeah. It's the most boring. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not trying to make a clip on the internet. It is the most boring book I've ever read in my life. It was so boring.
It is the only book I've ever fallen asleep while reading.
It's just terrible literature. There's nothing going on. It's like the person who wrote it was just barely awake or something. Like a vegetable man. Dude. I guess he was being choked out by an angel. It'd be hard to write something that makes that much sense if you're starved for oxygen. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like it was written by somebody who's being choked by a demon.
Right. Or the Alzu.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I had. Another thing that I think is really funny about the Book of Mormon is that it uses King James English, but then gets the grammar completely wrong in several spots, and then also uses like older than King James English. But it's like, wait a minute. That's not how it works. Why are you using two different eras of English?
People don't even talk like inserted into Hebrew.
People don't even talk like this. Like Christian Gadfly said, he was a contemporary of Mark Twain. You could pick up Huckleberry Finn and read it just fine.
Yep.
Like,
it's modern English. I mean,
it's literally what it is.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I think is really funny. So we had a debate one time with some Mormons, and they tried to argue that the word translation or translate doesn't mean translate. And I was like, well, how come? Wait, so if Joseph Smith, this is about the Book of Abraham. I was like, if Joseph Smith meant he was doing something else other than translating, why didn't he use a different word other than translating? They were like, well, the word had a different meaning back then. And I was like, back then? That's like what?
I know people who knew people that were alive in that time period. My dad, when he was a little kid, met an old woman who saw Abraham Lincoln on a train. So I literally know people who knew people from that time period.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't take you seriously. Sorry.
I met the great-great-granddaughter of Sacagawea at the Seek and Share Truth conference.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, so for Randy's chat real quick, this is one of my favorite criticisms of Joseph Smith. There were a bunch of newspaper journalists writing about Mormonism the entire time because it was a big hubbub in the region. Because everywhere he went, he kind of just made it worse. So everywhere he went, he had like angry mobs chase him out, basically.
True.
Up until he eventually got killed by trying to escape from prison while an angry mob was trying to kill him. Yeah, so the dude was not liked by anyone other than his cult. Even the cult didn't really like him. There's a bunch of people left. Anyways, he was a very unlikable dude. Apparently had a ton of charisma and had a very strong jawline if you actually trust the paintings of him. Handsome guy if the paintings are realistic.
Yeah.
But you do have critics at the time of Joseph Smith calling him the Mohammedan of America.
That's another parallel.
The white man's Muhammad.
So there's a bunch of hadith and traditions about Muhammad being the most beautiful man to ever live. It's funny how these prophets, their followers are always remembering them as the most beautiful person, especially with Muhammad, right? Because if you say anything wrong about him, you get your head cut off. It's like Kim Jong-il. Everyone, oh, he's so sexy. He's like God. He's just this fat Asian dude.
Oh yeah.
He just right.
Oh,
just looks like a total loser.
The peak of masculinity.
Yeah.
So also thank you for the membership, Randy.
But then with Jesus, it's like all we have of his, we have nothing of his physical description except for Isaiah 52 that says he's an ordinary guy. That's it.
And the Lord saith unto Blackbeard, I am unpleased with the people of this land, and I shall bring great tropical storms upon them. There shall be coconuts flying at high speed.
Why aren't you on here, Ash? Get on here. What are you doing?
I invited him if he wanted to hop on, but he apparently left during that.
He's got kids and cigars and who knows.
He's busy.
Kids and cigars.
All kinds of things that are more fun than being on here.
One thing that I would like to point out about Mormonism before I leave, because it is about my bedtime, is that whenever you look at these cults, Jehovah's Witness, Mormonism, Seventh-day Adventist, Islam, you can
well, that'll really get me some viewers.
Right, yeah. Shirtless Ash, smoking
he had a comment
cigar.
for anyone listening. He had a comment that said he can't get on because he's shirtless. And I was like, well, that'll help me get monetization. All right, go ahead, Chase.
There you go.
I just now noticed your name changed to Lacadeus Gonzalez, certified Buffalo Taper. But any of these cults, Islam, Seventh-day Adventism, Jehovah's Witness, Mormonism, all of these, they tend to have one thing in common, and it is that they make Satan out to be the good guy. What do I mean by this? Well, in Islam, Iblis would not bow to Adam. He was like, hey, I only bow to, Allah. And God was like, well, I want you to bow to this dude. And he's like, no, he's not you. And he's like, So he's like, okay. And then not only that, but Iblis makes man sin. And it's thanks to that Allah didn't wipe mankind out of existence, because it says in the is it Hadith? It says in a Hadith, I believe, that if there were to be a people who didn't sin, that Allah would wipe them out of existence. So Iblis saved everybody. Okay,
that's wild. I'll have to look.
He's the savior of humanity.
He is.
You didn't know about that? Oh yeah.
He's explicitly the good guy, or the serpent in the garden's explicitly the good guy in some of the Gnostic texts.
Yes, because denying physicality and dying because you want to die and get out of But so, and then in Seventh-day Adventism, it says about Satan that at the end of times, Christ is going to actually put the sins of the believers on the head of Satan, and he's going to atone for our sins in hell. So Satan is a partial atoner for the sins of Christians in Seventh-day Adventism. We think of Mormonism. How does Mormonism make Satan not to be a good guy? You say, well, number one, he's the brother of Jesus, which is not true, but it elevates his status. And number two, in Mormonism, there's a conversation that happens cosmically before the foundation of the world, in which Satan tells Jesus and the Father, he's like, hey, we're going to make these mankind people, but they're going to sin. What I think we should do is we should just save everybody. And Jesus is like, actually, no, what I think we should do is I think that I should go down there and die for them and save some of them that way. And the Father said, great, let's do what Jesus said. Satan was about to save everybody. And Jesus, stopped him. So it's like right. We see this elevation of Satan in these false cults.
You know how all these woke people have gotten into video games and they make the main character look like themselves,
right?
And the boss women and all these movies who beat up everybody, and they always look exactly like whoever the writer is. It's almost like whoever wrote all of these books really liked putting Satan in a good light. It's almost like, It's like he's winking at the fourth wall as he writes these books through these false prophets.
What?
We have a comment here from a weirdo in the chat. Says,
yeah, from some Judaizer.
People who voted for Satan ended up being black people.
That's crazy.
That's a racist thing to say. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you have the mark of Cain being entirely misinterpreted under Mormon theology.
Yeah.
So but they believe that the mark of Cain is a curse. You can hop off. I'll chat about it.
Well, I was going to say,
get into the black people stuff.
Well, if you wanted, I didn't know how much longer you planned on streaming for.
I need to get off soon. My wife, she caught me, and she was like, "You better not stay up late." I said, "Yes, ma'am."
Well, I'll stay on
my book
for
anyways,
a little bit, and then
I stayed up late two nights earlier. This
yeah, really late last night
on live streams. And on David's, I was like, "My wife's gonna kill me." And then the next morning, I saw she
in Mormonism. Is that true? The people who voted for Satan as Messiah over Jesus in Mormonism?
Oh, yes, that is true. Well, so it's the people in the pre-existent land because
that's
Satan
right,
and Jesus are brothers.
Yes.
They're brothers.
Yep.
And both of them wanted to become the Messiah. Right. And people voted for Jesus to become the Messiah, and people voted for the Satan to become the Messiah. Those who voted for Satan to become the Messiah received the mark of Cain whenever they were born into this world.
Right.
It's just Stephen's not racist. He's just well informed.
Right. I thought he was going to go to the mark of Cain thing. I just forgot that tidbit of the voting for it. But yes, that is part of their belief system because they believe that souls are pre-existent and that we eventually become embodied. But your unembodied souls that exist that are babies of your god and your goddess mommy, because the gods have multiple wives and each of those wives produce children. Those children then are becoming humans, and then the black humans are the ones who chose poorly
for Satan. Yeah,
and now we're
crazy words, by the way.
Stephen commented, "I'm both." After I said he's not racist, he's just well informed because I'm both. I'm both racist.
That's
and
crazy. I mean, well, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so the mark of Cain in the Bible is actually a blessing for Cain. It's God protecting him. In Mormonism, the mark of Cain makes you darker, makes your skin darker, and then curses you to hell.
Right.
So it's the opposite of what God did for Cain. And really, it's like a kind of a picture of Christ with him covering our mistakes, so granting us redemption and granting us freedom and life in him if we so chose it. But they take this protection from God and make it into a curse for all humanity. And they're not the only ones that do it. The Jews did it too. And Muslims. Actually, in some of the Hadith, you do have that the descendants of Ham, specifically, the Hamites, are the black people. They actually become the fathers of the people from Kush, the Ethiopians. And in that Hadith, it actually says this is why they're good for slaves.
So you're telling me that Islam is also racist?
Extremely.
And yeah, even more so than Mormonism.
Yeah. Probably the most racist religion I can think of.
Yeah.
I know about the Hadith where he says the people of Yemen are the best of all people, the most faithful.
That's not even the worst of it.
No.
No. The Raisin Heads, yeah. Which, speaking of which, I have coffee from the land of the Raisin Heads.
Dude, that coffee's so
good. Oh yeah, you got some in the mail, didn't you?
I had my first cup this morning, and I took a sip of it, and it lit me up like a candle.
That's crazy.
It was delicious. I couldn't even finish the whole thing. It was so strong. It was great.
It's very high quality.
I felt like I needed a lion in the desert to protect me from it. It was so strong.
And black and thick.
And homosexual.
Strong, dark, and will give you the strength of 30 men. And it sure did give you the strength of 30 men. So,
all dark and handsome.
Anyway, I'll let you guys go to bed so I can keep working on the book.
Sounds good. All right, brethren.
600 pages right now. Okay. Thank you all for coming out here. If you're going to watch the more stuff on Christian Gadfly's channel, go watch his playlist of streams. he needs another like 150 watch hours. So yeah, be good. Good. Thank you for coming out. I will hopefully eventually stream with AP soon. And I'm supposed to be streaming. I was supposed to stream with David last week. And then that has not yet happened. So I'm going to pester him again whenever his set is done.
Did he learn we were friends?
I think he already knew that.
He doesn't like me because I ate a carrot on his stream one time.
Who?
I knew that. Yeah.
He never invited me back on after I ate a carrot on his stream.
That's crazy.
Me and him have talked about you several times, actually. Not in a bad way. So
did he mention the carrot?
He did not mention the carrot.
He's trying to hide it.
He says, "Good night, brothers."
Leila Tov.
I'm gonna say the same thing. Is Leila Tov. Yeah.
Make me speak, brothers. Judaizer.
Oh. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit with you always. Thanks for coming out. Go give Christian Gadfly more watch time. See you.